Welcome to the Black Men Think podcast. If this is your first time here, know that the views and opinions expressed by the Black Men Think podcast are those of the Black Men Think podcast and not the individual members. With that being said, we're about to be unapologetically, undeniably black. Enjoy.
Live from LA?
Yeah.
Live from LA, man. Live from the pool area of the Moxy Hotel. We are downtown LA.
Yeah.
Welcome to Black Man Think podcast, man. Where we elevate our black man, because black man be out here thinking. Sip of the week, what we got?
We just drinking on a pineapple margarita.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when in Rome, they say.
I know, right? Yeah. So, man, we out here real casual, honestly, man. We got a couple of things to do. So I'm actually out here at Den Music Fest for LA, like we told y'all on the previous episode. So
Yep.
You guys are catching this after Den Music Fest has passed, but so I can't tell you how it went or what. But right now everything's looking pretty good.
Yep.
But we here, and Torri decided he wanted to come out, man, show support, and we here. So what are we talking about today? What are we getting into? Oh, before we do all that, make sure y'all subscribe, rate, comment, review, do all of the good stuff. Tell a friend and tell a friend. And if you want bonus content, be sure to go to patreon.com/blackmanthink to get all the bonus episodes.
Yeah.
Boom, Now we're here.
Yeah, man, we're here. I think a good thing to talk about, man, you know, we coming to the close of another year, you know.
True.
This year has rapidly taken
Yeah.
place. And there's just been a lot going on. And so I think we really just talk about, you know, keeping us uplifted.
Okay. So, I know Marlon and I, we talked about like the election and everything last week, but just kind of moving forward from that, we are, like you said, it's the end of the year, bro. We're in holiday season.
Yeah.
So, you know, you go from election to Thanksgiving to Christmas to it's the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like we boom, boom, boom. We all got kids. We all got wives.
Yep.
So definitely this is part of the year that's like ends up being a blur.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like looking forward to 2025, and I know we, you know, trying to find good moments to like reflect on the year and making sure that there's setting up some time. So maybe that's a good starting point. Like, what does it look like to have a roundup conversation in your household? You know what I'm saying? Like, look, let's look at what we've done this year, things we were able to accomplish, some of the goals that we put down.
Right.
Were we able to hit those marks, or did we
Right.
fall short?
Right.
So yeah, like, I mean, is that something that you guys, like, as a family, do y'all do that?
Well, we do that, you know, but of course we also know that life be life, and so we do try to reflect, but we try also not to put too much stock in it, just
Right.
because we know that we have to be adaptable throughout the year.
Yeah.
But we still need to reflect on, hey, are we in a better position this year than we were at this time last year? And so I think on our side, we are reflecting on that because, you know, we got a new house, we got a new school district for the kids. So I think we're moving forward with our plans and the major things that we wanted to do this year.
Right.
And so now it's just really, you know, just now trying to put into perspective what does next year look like? What are the big things that we want to tackle? You know, are there going to be some career moves? Are there going to be some more deeper entrepreneurship that's going to be taking place next year? So it's just really looking at all those factors. I know me, you, and Brian had a conversation yesterday about things that we want to try to really activate. And so I think for me, 2024 was a good year, but 2025, I think it needs to be a little bit more intentionality and a little bit more move with more of a sense of urgency.
Gotcha.
And really stay honed on those things that we say we want to do.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it's looking like. That's professional and personal with the family. So,
I mean, no, you bring up a good point, bro. I know for me, 2024, you know, it was weird because it started off like on a super high note, and then I realized it can actually be higher, right? And what I mean by that is I started the year off anticipating and earning a a significant pay increase at the job, as well as like a promotion. Like I was on the cusp of both of those things, right? And I felt like well deserving of. But what comes with that is also restructuring, shifts, and all of that, and also knowing that someone was about to demand more. And so in the midst of me thinking like, okay, boom, I already had my list of what I was gonna do. Right before that happened, it was like, well, we were thinking about moving to a different direction. So do you want to go into a different position, or do you want to like choose to leave? And you know, after speaking with the wifey and everything, it's like, you know what, I think this will be a good starting point to like, all right, let's start new. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So instead of accepting a position that I felt was like a more of a downward move and not and lateral at best, you know, I decided to leave. I negotiated a lovely severance, so much so like that was in February. I got paid up until like July, end of July, or no, June, end of June, excuse me. So, you know, it was one of those things where it was very intentional about like, okay, it's time to move from this, right? Have businesses that have already in the funnel and already in motion and already working. Like now you have that time, that dedication to really focus in on those things. And so that's what I did. So I kind of went up from like all right, boom, I got all these things that I know I want to do professionally, to the point where it's like, no, not here, but like, let's fall back into doing the things that you actually want to do and things that you kind of are putting on the back burner because of, you know, your corporate position. And so, able to like reshape, rethink, and you know, there's a lot of things that come along with that. Of course, it's just, there's that comfort, you know, the comfort of a salary is completely different than the comfort of entrepreneurship.
It really is. So, you know, speaking of that, because I think when you talk about it from that perspective, there's also another, because I'm in this dichotomy, right? Part of it is what I feel like my purpose is versus we have kids, we have responsibility, right?
Absolutely.
And so, you know, one of the things I've always admired about you is that I think you out of the group have been the one that more so can balance all of that than the rest of us. How do you approach that purpose / what you're passionate about, right? Really is what it's been, and you know, then knowing that, but I still got to provide for the family.
Well, I mean, a lot of that comes with it's a true sacrifice, bro, because like there are, and it's real sacrifices, like sacrifices in ego, sacrifices in finances, sacrifice across the board. And so going in a position to where it's like you're about to demand a high number, a number that's probably like your biggest number ever, to like not getting that number and having to be like, oh well, damn, I'm like, oh, there's nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, the ego of just saying like having a real conversation with the wife and just like, yo, if we do this, we operate on one salary at this point. Like, is that something that we're gonna be able to do? And she's been very supportive in it, but just like also real too. Like, all right, if we're gonna do this, then there's some things that we can't do, at least temporarily. So like, you know, for us, thankfully we've always kind of operated one salary anyway. Like that's just always been our game plan. And just with everything, expenses across the board, we operate as if there was only one salary. So when it did happen, it wasn't a big a shock. Like there was like an adjustment period for a couple of months where it was just like, oh damn, hold on, that money ain't coming in. You know what I'm saying? Even with a severance, is like a portion of, but it's still nothing. Like after the severance, like okay, nothing's coming in. So there was an adjustment period where it was just like, all right, cool. So we know that these are things that we have to get done. We know that we can't necessarily go out to eat 3-4 times a week. All right, that's a one time a week thing. You know what I'm saying? And we're being realistic about the intent of what we were trying to accomplish, because they had got to one point where I was just like, yo, maybe I just go and find another gig. And you know, we had a real conversation around like, is that something that you want to do, or are you just doing that because you think that that's what I want you to do? And of course, it's just been us like, oh, I'm doing that because like, you know, I think you're gonna be stressed. Like I know I've been here before, so I know. That's why it's like when people ask me like, oh man, how, this, I was like, man, it don't really bother me because there was a time in my life I didn't know where anything was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I mean, you remember
I
those
was
days,
there.
you know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
there.
Like those days of like, bro, how am I gonna pay rent? How am I gonna do it? Like, I've been through that before, so, and this is nowhere near that. So for me, this is smooth sailing, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But also it's just having that open communication, because having, you know, wife and kids, it's a different ball game. When it
Right.
was just me, it was easy to just say like, oh, I take the L here,
Right.
because I don't have to worry about that. And you know, we have real life responsibilities. And so a lot of that was communication. A lot of that was just focusing in, zeroing in on the businesses that were already in place, and just like making sure to be more intentional about, all right, boom, now we're buying things over here that make sense with the business, as opposed to
Right.
just not doing things. So, you know, but so far so good, man. Everything working out. We haven't had any issues, thankfully. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything been working out the way it's supposed to work out.
Good,
So
good.
the only difference is just I can't just hop up and do the stuff I want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're in LA, so it sounds kind of crazy saying that, but still, you know, I'm in LA on business. You know what I mean? And so it
Right.
makes a bit of a difference, as opposed to taking a leisure trip, so to speak, where,
Gotcha.
you know, I have to, everything is super intentional now. So if I'm going to be in a space, I got to make sure that even if there is no money being made in that space, there is an opportunity for something to come in the future. So, with the answer to your question about how to balance it, bro, is just truly like a understanding wife, because she could easily be on some like, nah, this ain't for me, what are we doing type thing. And also, you know, just being intentional about everything that you're doing. There's no playing around, so to speak.
Right.
You know, I would say one of the biggest things that I learned from back when I was younger, like we're talking about damn near 20 years ago, was that you had time on your side. So you're able to be like, oh, okay, I can take a L here, I can take a L here. Now I don't.
Can't take it.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can, but like not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a position now where I'll tell somebody no in a second, because I'm like, oh, even if the money looks good, it's just like, oh, I don't want to do that. So it's just like, no. But also having the time to be able to do whatever you need to get done is a blessing. Because there was times where it's just like, man, I have opportunities lined up, and I got the gig, so I can't do this, I can't do that, and now I don't have that. So that's been a blessing in itself.
Gotcha. No, that makes total sense, man. So so how does your family planning look like as y'all move into this season? Like, you know, y'all doing prep meetings? Like, how does that look?
Yeah, man. I mean, we do. So every year we start off with goals,
Okay.
and then we try to check in on those goals like a couple of times a year. Even if we don't, we always look over them at the end of the year and then kind of reset. So if we have like 10 goals down and we only hit 7 of them, the 3 that we didn't hit, they go to next year.
Okay.
And we do that as like a family and individually. And we try to do it for like, you know, financial, personal, and like health or spirituality. Like we try to make sure we set those. So for us, we do a lot of planning together as much as we can. And also, like, bro, we was at that point, we just realized, like, all right, at some point you're gonna max out at the job. It is what it is, bro. I don't care if you like the top CEO, at some point you're gonna max out. And they're either gonna say like, you're gonna have to go to another job. But like, even if your job bouncing and, you know, getting promotions, eventually you're gonna cap out. So we got into the mindset of like, all right, what else are we gonna be able to do to hit our financial goals, hit our, you know, the financial freedom and things of that nature that we want. And a lot of it just comes with like, you know, we buying businesses and we doing real estate. And so, you know, and also like creating businesses around ourselves and things of that nature. And so a lot of that is just like, yo, even though it might look like nothing is happening, it's just starting something so we can build solid foundation. So when it pops, it pops. Because we've been around, like we've seen people who worked for 5 years doing something, and then on year 6, it's through the roof. And it's just like, where they come from? Like, no, they've been working on it. You know, been laying a foundation. So for us, it's just more so trying to find new opportunities. Like
Gotcha.
Wifey got podcasting, and she's building her a community over there. We have podcasting, got been DJing and production. So now it's just like all those things we're doing, we pull them in the pot. And, you know, we bought a home a couple of years ago and we got our number. Once our value of our house get this number, then we doing the ACE route. Like, so it's just already having those things in mind. And when I say the ACE route, we talking like, you know, inside baseball, but like once that house hit a certain number, then we're going to take out a HELOC, home equity line of credit, and we're going to buy another house. And then the house that we're in, we'll rent that house out and we'll live in the other house for a couple of years. And then when that value go up, rinse and repeat, you know, just keep doing it that way. And because at this point, once you get to like 4 or 5 houses, bro, your mortgage is paid for because all of your rents, or, you know, all the rents being paid from your houses. So that's our long-term plan. You know, 3 to 4 homes, renting out 3 of them, living in 1 of them, and then businesses are operating, and then it'll get to the point where like wifey, she can leave her job. You know what I'm saying? And then once we're at that space and we have all those other things figured out, we can kind of, you know, move around and do some other stuff that we want to do. So that's for us. That's like our long-term, the Goodwin household long-term plan for now, you know, and that may change. You know, we look at it every year and figure out what we want to do. But that, and I'll tell you what's been at the top of the list. I didn't mention this, but we've had a podcast episode about it. It's just trying to get our parents in order. So like they're like really having that tough conversation with our parents and like, yo, it's time now. Because all of our parents are like bare minimum in their like 60s, high 60s. And so it's just trying to get them to understand the importance of trying to get their finances together so they ain't leaving us with a bunch of BS to clean up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that put a bigger burden on us, which stops everything else that we, you know, you're trying to do. So that's been our top of the, you know, kind of like 1A.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And have y'all started those conversations with your parents yet?
Yeah, briefly. Like, so the plan is Thanksgiving, Trina mom come up, boom. Because we realize like we have to get them when they're on their own, when they are like more open and not trying to do all this, you know, everything else, as opposed to just like, no, let's focus, let's get you to focus.
Right.
So that's the plan. Her mom Thanksgiving, my mom Christmas.
Okay.
And then just like lock in, just at least get them to the starting point, bro, to where they doing more than just like, oh, your name on the bank account. Like, that ain't gonna do shit, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you need to have power of attorney, all that stuff, like
all of it, bro.
laid out.
Got to. It's important, man. It's stuff, unfortunately, our community, we're learning firsthand. And I think that's real. It's more so that than, it's not even the don't do. We just learning firsthand that it needs to be done. We didn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Our parents definitely didn't know. Our grandparents didn't know. So like we're learning, getting information in real time, trying to like break generational curses and be successful at the same damn time.
No, you're right about that, man. You're right.
That's the hard part. What about y'all though? Like, man, I know y'all, like you say, y'all just bought the new crib and you know, got the kids in a great school system. So like, what do the next 2 to 3 years look like for y'all, or y'all, what are y'all planning for it to look like?
Well, you know, part of it is, you know, getting the house to where we want it, right? Because kind of like you said, that the particular house we're in right now, this is going to be our financial house. What I mean by that is like that's going to be the one that set us up for retirement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's one of the things, and really getting into a position to where I can pay that off quicker, and then really utilize that to really, hey, if we want to stay in it, we can stay in it because we own it, or if we want to use that to infuse a lot of new capital, you know. So that really looking at it from that perspective as well. But then also looking at, you know, on the entrepreneurial side, I think I'm getting to the point now where I am. I've been straddling that line for a long time now, but I think now it's really time for me to really start looking at what that looks like. Even if I'm not actually an entrepreneur in the next 1 to 2 years, it's really though laying down that foundation so that in the next 3 to 4, I can be.
Transition.
So I'm looking at this as that transition period to really learn to like, okay, if we're gonna do it, now is the time to start doing it. These are the things that you need to have in place, and then when it's in that place, boom. So that's realistically, and that's personally. And then from a family perspective, you know, just really looking at, I really want to focus on our kids being entrepreneurial now. You know, I'm looking at so many stories where you have these young kids that's making millions of dollars off of YouTube or whatever the case is.
Yeah, bro.
I'm really like, especially between our group, we have so many kids that if we can get any of them together to really focus and get that shit, we could easily do that.
Yeah.
And so I really want to see how we can go about doing that. Because at this point, you know, me and my wife, we'd have made good money, we did a lot of things. I really now want to start focusing on them. So by the time that they 18, guess what? They already
They good. They
ain't
good,
worried
bro.
about nothing.
Exactly.
And, you know, and so that perspective and the mindset is going to be a little bit different. And they're only limited by how much their imagination will let them do.
Yeah.
So that's really the next 2 to 4 years is really what I want to start focusing on. Is really putting them. I would love for by the time the girls are in their teenage years, they don't have to worry about anything. They already got, excuse me, their own individual bank accounts to where their college is already paid for. Their first house already paid. Like that's what I really want to set up. That to me now, that's going to be success if I can position that.
That's what it's about, bro. Because being in that, you know, just looking at, if you just look at it on just a very linear level, if your kids, if you don't have to worry about taking care of your kids when they're, you know, adults, the burden's off of you, the burden's off of them because they not stressed out about, because they got their stuff figured out, right? Like imagine they're in college. Like, okay, cool. Perfect example, bro. Remember when we was all tired of staying in the village and we was like, bro, it's time for us to get an apartment. Think about if we just would have bought a crib in Atlanta at that time. Bought a crib.
Together.
Because what, all of us did the same thing. Like we left the village, me, Corey, and Ace went and stayed in a townhouse. We could have bought a townhouse.
Between 7 of us, yes. We really should have did that.
And I'm saying, but even if like you and Brian went to live together, y'all could have bought a crib. Then when Ace left and it was just me and Corey could have bought another crib.
Him and Marlon could have bought.
But you know what I'm saying? It's that we didn't have the information, we didn't have the tools. But think about it, in a span of 5 years, we could have had like 4 or 5 homes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In a time where Atlanta was like on the rise.
Burgeoning. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're buying homes, $150,000 homes that are worth like, you know, $800,000 now. You know what I'm saying?
But we
so
didn't, like once again though,
didn't have the information. Didn't have the information.
And we also had different struggles at that time too.
I mean, we did, but I'm just saying, like, just being realistic, there were programs in place where we could have got it done. You know, like we probably would have been in neighborhoods at the time that weren't favorable.
Correct.
But now
they didn't got bought out. It easily could have got $700,000 come up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And so it's just, you know, it's really about having the access to the information.
And to your point, man, if we would have did things a little bit different when we all first got out of school, when we all first got that first job, because we all was making about the same amount.
Yeah.
We probably literally could have had about 3 or 4 properties if we were really talking about doing things as a collective, which is where you get power from. We could have been in that. And so that's one of the things I want my kids to really look at.
That's the thing.
Hey, look at doing things in a collaborative manner. You don't have to do things on your own.
You don't.
And that's what
that's a gem, though.
It's a community of, the power of community is greater, it has a greater multiplier than the power of one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because 1 times 1 is what?
1. That's such a bar, bro. It's such a bar. It's like, it's one of those things that I've learned just in business, man. Like, we talked about it last night when me, you, and Brian was just coming up, you know, talking about new business ideas where we don't need 100%. We have 20% set aside for anybody willing for like providing equity. You know what I'm saying? You could be an equity partner. If you got the money to come in, we have 20% allotted over here. And it's just like when you have that mindset and you start thinking like that from jump, you don't have to build everything out by yourself. You don't have to flesh everything out by yourself. That's like one thing, like I had to come to grips of, because that was the type of owner I was. It was like I can do all this. I know how to do all that. And to be fair, it comes to me very easily.
Right.
But the problem with being a one-stop shop is when you gone, it's gone.
Yep.
So it's power in giving other people opportunities. It's power in teaching other people, because if you build those systems, it's always here. Like I would, even in the corporate world, bro, I would absolutely hate process docs. Couldn't stand a process doc. But now,
it's very important now.
it's important, because a process doc basically says, if I'm not here, you can read this and do what I do.
Correct.
And as long as that exists, anybody, it's that fear of like, bro, because they teach you like, if somebody else can do your job, you're replaceable. True.
But you're replaceable, period.
You're replaceable, period. Even whatever you've created, bro, even if you were the only person that created it, they can always bring somebody else in to like amplify that or relearn what you've already learned, or whatever you've already, they can bring somebody in and do it. So you can't be afraid of the systems. And when you build systems with withstand everything else. It's a reason why we can go to any Chick-fil-A in the world and the food tastes the same.
Yep.
No matter what, it's going to taste the same. The service is going to be the same because they built the system.
But that's also how you get that multiplier effect.
There you go.
And so to your point, that's why, when I talk to people in our community, I say, look, guys, we don't have to do things on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you might make more short term doing it on your own, but that long term value,
1,000%.
you can't even measure it.
Hey, bro. Dog, put it like this. There's a job that pays $10,000 for the job. The job can get done in 3 days, $10,000. It's a nice job. As a business owner, the one thing that you learn is I can do that job, work hard for 3 days, make 10 grand. It's good money. Or I can go and hire 2 people. I can go and pay 2 people 25. I can take this 5 grand, go and hire 2 people, get them $2,500 a piece. They gonna work harder for the $2,500 because they see $2,500 in 3 days. What do you mean? You gonna give me $2,500 in 3 days to do like very minimum work, because they think they're playing you, because they know that they can do that I can do that job in a day. Like I know I can do it, but he's gonna pay me that over 2 days. It was cool. But the business mind says, pay these 2 people $2,500 a piece, and you walk away with 5 grand and do nothing. It's better than you working hard like a dog for 3 days for the same, just to make more money. Like,
But then here's the other part of that as well. Now, while they doing that, you can go ahead and find this other job
Boom.
to do the exact same thing.
The exact thing.
Get 2 more people.
There you go.
And now you done got $10,000, which you would have got just off of one.
Off of one job.
You really got $20,000 off of 2.
And then to add an extra layer to that, you've also empowered 4 people. So now you've gave jobs to 4 people that gonna rock with you forever. And you did technically you made phone calls.
You made phone calls.
You made phone calls.
Yeah.
That's the game that I think a lot of times we miss, because we want to be the guy. We want to be the person in charge, the person that do it. But
I think it goes back to the conversation we always say, we're stuck playing checkers when we need to be playing chess.
mm-hmm.
And I think, and guys, just to let you guys know, because we're coming to time, 2025, we're really going to be honing in on helping and empower people to focus on, to do just that, to focus on playing chess. Because life is a chess game, not a checkers game.
Not checkers.
And so we want to really elevate our black men to be thinking how to play chess. And so just please stay tuned, 2025, JD, myself, and Brian, we're really going to be bringing something new to our community to help our community.
Absolutely, man. I think that's a great ending point, man. Remember, make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do all that good stuff. If y'all want bonus content, make sure y'all go over to Patreon. That content is there. It's housed there for a reason. You do have to pay for it, but by paying a subscription, you're able to get access to different information that you can't get here. So if you want to be that person, you can go to patreon.com/blackmanthink. But as always, remember, Black Man Think Podcast, where we elevate our black men, because black men be out here thinking. Live from LA at the Moxy Hotel at the pool. They setting up for an event over here on the left-hand side.
Yep.
We right across the street from
The
Crypto
Crypt.
Arena. But with that being said, we'll see y'all next week. Y'all stay tuned. Black Man Think Podcast.
One other thing, guys, and if you do like us doing location shoots,
Oh, yeah.
please let us know. Actually, throw out some suggestions as well. Who knows? We might pop up. This came together at the last moment.
Definitely did.
I told JD I was gonna come out here, and I'm like, you know what? We got to give our listeners content, man. We can't be out here and not do it.
Absolutely.
So, hey, and eventually in the future, we're gonna be doing a live events. 2025, we're gonna at least do one live event.
One live event at least.
One live event. And so we need you guys to tell us where that live event should be, and we need to know that you guys are gonna support us and be there to see that.
Absolutely. All right, man. We'll see y'all next week.
The Black Men Think Podcast.